What's going on, guys? It's been a little while since I've pulled out the camera and filmed. Probably been a week or two. So as you can see, the car is up on stands right now. I am in full preparation mode. If I mentioned this in the last video, I actually am finally getting rid of my little 1.6 brakes in the rear, and I got a set of NB Sports EBC pads and StopTech rotors, so that is a good upgrade there. Just going through the car. I'm getting it ready to go to LS Fest next weekend. I'm racing 1050 index again, so hopefully tomorrow night is Friday. We're going testing in Orlando, just so I know I have a tune that goes somewhere 10.6, 10.5. So done a couple of things to the car. I ended up making this little heat shield back here to hopefully protect the water lines, to help with some of the cooling, because you saw the video prior when I was hanging out with Kevin and Joanna, driving on the street for higher speed. It was getting hot. So this is one of the things I'm testing and trying to see if it helps. I made a little bit of a to-do list. The harnesses are out of date. I've already had the harnesses. I got to swap them out. I don't care to do diff bushings yet. We got to bleed the brakes. Header bolts. Header bolts kind of funny. So when we assembled the car, these used to be black. These are Downstar bolts, but they're anodized aluminum, and I guess the heat got to them and turned them pink. So when I was at Summit, I picked up a set of stainless ARP bolts. So those look a lot better. I have a couple on already. I mean, to be honest, I don't like how they look in comparison, but I guess form over function, right? Or function over form. So recenter the steering wheel. That's kind of something I've been slacking on right now. When we put the subframe in, when I did the whole fuel system with Brian, if the wheels are straight, my steering wheel is like this. So I just want to adjust that. It's just a steering column thing. It's not an alignment issue. Doing an oil change. I already drained the oil out of it. The dump valve line. So my dump valve, the valve is right there. And it looks like the bottom hose there is leaking. So whenever I did the whole dump valve deal, I ended up doing, like, I reused my old fuel fittings on the dump valve, and maybe that's why it's leaking, I don't know. So just so I don't have to deal with it, because it is ATF, it is fluid under the car, I'm just gonna go down the store, grab 2 new fittings and replace that whole line brand new. That way I don't have to worry about it. Unfortunately, because the transmission was leaking, I now got to pull the dash out again to top off the tranny fluid. So I absolutely hate the dipstick location, but it's the only thing I can have right now. So I guess it is what it is. So anyhow, but that's kind of the dealio. In a little while today, I'm actually heading down to Brian's house. So about a month ago now, I swapped out to new injectors. I put a set of Snake Eater Performance 210s in it. Now, when I had my 4-cylinder, I actually had 210s in it as well. The injectors were always great. I never had any issues, but they were just bought straight up. I never had them flow tested. So I assumed, putting my LS together, I'm like, oh, flow matching is not gonna be that big of a deal. Let me go ahead and I bought a set of 160 pound injectors, and yeah, I just threw them in the car and been running them ever since. Well, every time that I've run the car or had the headers off, you can see some of the ports are cleaner than the others. Now, on the fuel tech, I have O2 correction, which means I have a target air fuel that I want to meet, and my fuel system will target that air fuel and make it work. Well, if the injectors are all equal, that's great. But if I have a big variance in injectors, you might have one cylinder that's not making anywhere near as much horsepower as the other one, which, could be an issue or a cause to my the issues I've been having with lack of power. So last time at the track, my duty cycle was maxed out, and it was just time for bigger injectors. So with the small turbo, it was at like 79% duty cycle, and then I put the bigger turbo on. So obviously I was running out of the wiggle room, because they say you don't want to run injectors any more than 75 to 80% duty cycle. That's recommended, at least. So I put the 210s in it. The car's been driving, it seems like it's driving much better. Well, I had Brian and Ryan flow test my injectors, and it seems to be there's like over a 20% variance with the old injectors. So that could explain a lot. So I'm gonna see him today. But yeah, I'm trying to knock out this checklist. I want to go to the track tomorrow. And then if I have time, I'm conducting a little experiment. So Doug from Motion Raceworks, he made a video where he bought a decibel reader and he's comparing the sound of his fuel pump to just random things around his shop. Well, my fuel pump has always been solid mounted in the trunk. You can see here, that's the bracket right there, bolted to a piece of sheet metal, and then the fuel pump bolts to that. So I'm sure you guys have heard the in-car videos, like my fuel pump is extremely loud. So I've been kind of getting annoyed, so I bought a set of rubber isolators from Aeromotive. They sell it as a kit. So I want to make a new mount for the fuel pump, and I'm actually going to be using the sound level meter to test it before and after I change the isolator. So I can tell you this, I put the sound decibel reader right where my head is in the car. I ran it. I unbolted my pump off that bracket and I literally just set it on top of a towel, and it was like a difference of 13 decibels, which I guess is huge. Night and day sounding in my ear, but the number on the decibel is kind of not as much as I was expecting, but nonetheless, I mean, there's really no issues with the car. I just honestly haven't been driving it. It's been kind of parked since Clean Culture 2 weeks ago. So yeah, so finish my brake swap, get the header bolt swapped out, make a new dump valve line, check the tranny fluid, fix the steering shaft, and swap out my seat belts. So I'm sure I'll have these posted up for sale. I mean, there's really nothing wrong with them. Like, they've been pretty much new in the car, but the problem is because I do the drag racing stuff, you can see right here, the punches are from June of 18. So June of 20 is when they expire. So they're in basically brand new condition, but because when I bought these seat belts is like shortly after I pulled the car down to do all the major upgrades. So basically a brand new set of belts. But anyway, yep. I still got to swap out this side brakes. This is the 1.6. So while the wheels are off, I'm doing a nut and bolt check on everything, and just getting it ready to go to Kentucky next weekend for LS Fest. So I'll catch up with you guys in a little bit. Well, as every time I try getting some errands done during the day, things come up and I don't get much done. But I did get what I needed to do for my oil change. So I got some fresh Valvoline VR1. I got my oil filter. I did get the new hose for the dump valve and the 2 new fittings. And also I ended up swapping out my warranty, or my starter on my warranty. A lot of the videos, I'm sure you can hear it when I start the car, like the starter gets hung up as I'm starting the car. And it sounds like absolute crap. So lifetime warranty, I swap it out. I don't really care. So I'm gonna go ahead, I really need to focus on doing something. So I'm gonna get the back brake done first. That's first thing to do. Get the line bolted up. That way, all I gotta do is bleed it tomorrow. I will then finish putting the rest of the header bolts on both sides. I'm gonna put a fresh set of plugs in it tonight. And then I gotta change the filter, add the fluid, make the dump valve line, and that'll be it for this night. Unfortunately, with how my dipstick is for the transmission, I gotta pull the dash because I actually have the dipstick going through the tranny tunnel. So tomorrow, friend Ryan's coming over to help me bleed the brakes and to help me with the tranny fluid, because it's kind of a pain in the butt to have one person do it. I can do it, but if I got someone else to help me, I will. And yeah, so the goal is to go to the track tomorrow night and get a tune-up situated for the 1050 index for LS Fest. So I'm gonna keep working on, and we'll see how far I get tonight. Yay. All right, so I got my my new NB Sport brakes on here. Swapped over the brackets from the Miata 1.6 brakes. And I mean, one thing I always forget is on the back of the caliper, you have the it's a bolt that's got to come out, and there's a set screw for your parking brake. So right now it's kind of tight, but I'm also spinning the trans. But yeah, my little 1.6 brakes are gone. These look a lot better. And also my OCD kind of killed me before, because these are just slotted versus these are slotted and cross drilled. So I thought they were kind of ugly. So, all right, one step down. Let's keep going. All right, so I got this side done. I put new plugs in it. I just got to connect this one, but she's being a pain in my ass, so she can wait. I got all the plugs out of it. And looking at the plugs, the tune-up is really rich, but this has a lot of street miles on it, and the timing mark doesn't really show on the plug. So I'm really curious to see how the track's going to go tomorrow as far as the tune-up changes. I just got the rest of the header bolts on them. So I bought this cool tool from FTY Racing a while ago. Go ahead and set this up. The plugs I'm running on this engine are the VR7EF, which they say is good for, you know, higher boost levels. So I actually have this cool little tool where you actually, you know, put the spark plug in here. So let's go through setting up a gap on a spark plug. So right now you would take the plug and you'd cradle it in the tool just like so. So make sure it's nice and seated. I'm going to go ahead and put a 20,000th feeler gauge. I'm going to hold it with my thumb just like so. And what you do is you tighten it all the way, as tight as you can get it. Tight, tight, tight. So then you back it off. And you double check the gap. And that's nice and snug, and that is a gapped spark plug. So this is the best way to do it without tapping the plugs on random surfaces, and you can get the most accurate way of gapping the plugs. So 10 out of 10 recommend this tool. Alright, so I got 8 new spark plugs. I replaced all my header bolts with the stainless steel ARP bolts, and those look great, and I don't have to worry about them discoloring with the heat anymore. So I kind of think I'm just going to throw it in the towel for the night. That way I can at least upload this video. I don't want to slack and wait a couple days. So tomorrow basically I have to just add engine oil, replace the dump line, check training fluid, and do a once over on the car, and then we should be good for the track tomorrow night. Honestly, I might not even need to add training fluid. I'm just going to double check the level. Not much leaked, but the problem is where the dump valve fitting is, it's right at the bottom of the pan. So I'm afraid when I go to pull the line off, that's when it's going to have that big leak. But we'll see. Anywho, that's it for me, guys. I will catch you tomorrow. I'll wrap up the car and hopefully go to the track. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.